wants to make some stars, make some outer space, some starfields flying out in space. I can't resist this. I use this kind of thing all the time in my titles, in so many videos. I just find it irresistible to put things in space. It's easy. I know it's cliche. I don't care. I like space stars and stuff, and I'm going to show you how I do it. Okay, I'm just going to do a deep dive on making this kind of spacey particle stuff. I'll show you how I did it in this episode, and it starts with, let me just solo this black solid and show you what's in here. CC Particle World. This is an effect. You type particle over here in After Effects, you'll see there's 3 of them. The one that I use most of the time is the CC Particle World. I might as well show you from the beginning how I would do it. I'm going to hide these guys, and I'm going to say new solid, and it says white solid. It doesn't really matter what color it is. So I got a new solid. It's white. Go to this particle world and just drag it on it, and the particles appear over here. When you first put it on, it just does this kind of fireworks display. So here it is. It just shoots these things out. And here's how I'll turn it into a star field. Let's go look at the birth rate. I'll just say 3 and longevity 4. Okay. Now the producer itself is the size of where all the particles are emitting from. You can position it in space, and I just want it in the center. You can say the radius. This is the important thing. See this? I want them to fill much more than the screen. That's the radius X across the screen. The radius Y up, higher. Okay, so I'm making it larger than the screen for the emitter, where the particles come in. Then the radius Z, which if we looked at this from, let's do 2 views and look on this view and say, I want to look at this from the side, like the left. Now I'm going to do the radius Z, and we'll see that I'm stretching it out in the Z space as well. So all it is, it's doing fireworks, but instead of coming from a single point in the center, they're flying all directions. Now this is nothing what we want. What do we do to get it right? Let's go to the particle itself. Here's the particle. You can do a lot of different kinds of particles. You can also do you sometimes do photographs or movies as the particles themselves. It's really fun. But I just want to do this faded sphere, or maybe a shaded sphere. The particles, the fireworks are still dropping, but we're getting closer. I'm just going to keep them white. Now let's go, the size is the other thing. We want these a lot smaller. So I'm going to say birth size, something like this. When they're closer to the camera, they're going to be larger. It's going to happen. And death size, I want it to be the same, or maybe slightly smaller, and 0.03 perhaps. Okay, so now we got tiny stars, and let's take a look. They start, and they're flying really fast right now. We got to do something about this. We've got the stars. Maybe I'll make them a little bit larger, just slightly larger. Let's go to the physics part. This is important. Right now we're in an explosive. There's all these different kind of presets for that kind of action. This one is called directional. It's flying off in one direction. But let's do this resistance. This slows it down a little bit. Okay, it's slowing it down a little bit, not much. The directional axis, the gravity vector, right now it's +1 in the Y, which is falling down to the floor. In this case, I did it the opposite direction. I did a -1, so it's going up, but I need to slow it down a lot slower. So what am I going to do here? Let's try vortex, see what that one looks like. Okay, it's still moving really fast. Lord, what am I going to do? Let's see what I did the first time. That's why I'm going over this, because it's nice to have a little formula. So I got the velocity at 0.02. I've got the resistance at 2.5. The gravity, maybe that's the case. How forceful the gravity is. That is what I'm missing, I think. So let's go to this gravity. Right now it's at 0.310. Let's turn that way down, something like that. And it's going really slow. They're going really slow. That's nice. Okay, so that is how I got the stars in place, okay? So now I'm going to just delete these new stars that I did and go to my old stars. So here's the old stars. Let's see what this looks like. Okay, it looks like I got the vortex on this one. So they're a little wiggly, very, unrealistic. That's okay. Who cares, man? Who cares how unrealistic it is? I don't want real space. Okay, so let me delete this white solid and go back to the ones that I did for the show. There they are going along. Now, how did I get them to look so kind of nebula looking? Like if you look at over here, what's all this going on? It looks a lot different than those stars. Let's see what I did. So I've got these cloud movies that I created just with my phone. I like to take a lot of pictures of clouds. Let's open this video in another window so we can see what's going on here. So there it is. And it's just about 20 seconds of clouds. I wish, this one is so good that I wish I'd taken it for a lot longer. You can see the tree sticking out over here. So it's just clouds, 20 seconds of clouds going by pretty quickly. Let's close this extra window and show the effects I did to get this a purple nebula look. First is the curves. This is like one of the most useful things you can use. What you can see is I've made the darks a lot darker. See that? By adjusting the curves. So normally they're up here. I just pushed them down and compressed them. You can do a lot of things, and you can do per channel stuff too. Like if I wanted to go to, say, the red and up the red value, see, I can make the red do something different or subtract the red, stuff like that. So those are the curves. Then I did this tritone to really force the color into these zones, this purple zone. I used this tritone. And this is just, there's 3 colors you choose from. I chose a dark red and a purple. For the midtones, I could have chose a green for the midtones. Cancel. I chose a pink for this. I could have made it more orangey. You see that? It's very, very cool. It's kind of like 3 colors that you can manipulate from the spectrum of luminosity, I guess. Okay, so there it is. That's it, really. But there is one more thing I did to the particles. I probably should have done a better job on this, actually. I compressed this. I did some curves. So there's the particle world. We took a good long look at that. Here's the curves. Let me turn the curves off. It looks like I might have some opacity on this. I do. Let's turn this up so we can see it a little better. 100. So I soften the stars even more. But let's get them up high so they're bright. Let's turn the curves off, and you see it's a kind of soft shaded. Let me turn it on full view just for a second here, so you can see that the full resolution. Let me reset the curves. Okay, so that's no curves at all. First, I trimmed down the dark. I put the darks really dark, and then I took the brights and made much more of it brighter because I still want a little soft edge, but I wanted more of it to be bright white like that. And there you go. And I'm starting to question whether or not I should have done the darks. Maybe I should have just kept it all brighter. But I'm going to just be happy with this. So there we go. We got some curves to make the stars a little brighter. I think now that the stars are this bright, there's something else I might do. What am I going to do next? I think just because I can't stop messing with this, I'm going to reduce the particle size slightly. Okay, I'm going to go in here. I'm going to say birth size 0.6. And I'm going to say, whoa, what was that? It looks like I need to do 0.06. Okay, and then I'm going to say death size 0.8. That's fine. They get a little bit larger over time. They're moving awfully fast. Maybe I can turn the gravity down even less. Turn the gravity down to 0.4. Let's see if that works. Yes. Okay, so now the gravity is not much force. They're going kind of slow. And that's kind of nice. That's good enough. However, when you add a camera, new camera, I'm just going to leave it as a 2-node camera. That's fine. Okay, so we've added a camera. Now I'm going to stretch the camera out so it fills this entire area. Now, look, something's wrong now because these guys are in 3D space. See, I've set them, if they were not on 3D space, it would look like this. Okay, now let's put them in 3D space. Okay, 3D space. We actually don't need to put our stars into 3D space. I'm going to turn that off. They're already in 3D space, basically. Let's look at this from 2 views so we can see the camera in space. Now we're looking at it over here from the left, and the camera is sitting over here. Let's see, I can start to move it. Look, oh my God, do you see what's going on? I'm zooming into the stars. It's just a beautiful, beautiful thing. Now, let me say undo to that and go to this custom view over here, which is just a handy way to look at it like so. And you get a good sense. Clouds are a big 2D layer, but it's sitting in 3D space. Now, what I'm going to do, you can do, just to show you with just a camera alone, you can do some cool stuff. Let me hit P, get position up, put a keyframe here, and move down like 2 seconds. Now notice also that I'm going to put on the motion blur, turn the motion blur on. Got motion blurs on these guys, very important. So now I'm going to go 2 seconds down, and I'm going to move this guy on the Z. I'm going to push it into the stars and the clouds. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, now let's see what happens. Let's just play over here. we'll see from the camera's viewpoint. See, we're zooming into the stars. Isn't that beautiful? Just wonderful. And then suddenly we stopped. So now we're not moving fast enough to do any real super motion blur effects. Let's move really fast just for fun. I will go just 1/2 second or so and zip this guy way back like this, way back. And then let's hit the good old F9 on these keyframes. Hitting the F9 key is the easy E, so it will get some easing. Oh, it looks like I really freaked it out. What did I do? I turned it all the way around accidentally. Okay, let's add a camera again. New camera. Just for fun, sometimes a 2-node camera gets a little carried away. So I'm just going to do a 1-node camera because I want to handle the second node a different way. I'll show you. So let's stretch this camera out for the whole width. And let me do these keyframes again. Position. Now we are zooming into the stars. It's beautiful. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing. And we're controlling it with the camera. And you can see it really is 3D. Now I'm going to go here, put a keyframe, start keyframes up. We got one placed here. I'm going to go 2 seconds in, and I'm going to zoom this guy in to the stars really fast, like so. And then I'm going to come over here, and then I'm going to pull them out of the stars like this, pull them out. Okay, so we got them zooming in and zooming out. And now I'm going to put easy ease. Let's just play a little bit of that, see what it looks like. Ooh, yeah, very, very cool. Okay, we're definitely not in real time playback, but you get a sense of what's going on. Now let me hit easy ease on this so we get a little slow down, speed up, kind of ease in, ease out stuff around the edges. So it'll be going the fastest in the middle of these, and then it'll slow down. And you can already see the motion blur happening a little bit on these things. So let's play this real quick and see what's going on. Okay, that's really, really cool. Really, really cool. We love it. Wonderful. And just for fun, I'll start it zooming back in again. I'll zoom this camera in. Oh, by the way, we can get the camera tool and kind of look at this beautiful space from all around these different angles. It's wonderful. Love it. Love it very, very much. So let's also just trim this guy down so we don't have so much. I'm going to make the sequence only 6 seconds long, or maybe 8 seconds long. I'm moving the work area, and I'm going to say trim comp to work area to get this is our entire 8 seconds or so of stuff. Now, here's the next trick. A lot of people know this, but if you're new to After Effects, this is a revelation. There's these things called null objects. They're just a thing that you can move around, even though it doesn't reveal itself in the movie in any way. It's just an anchor point that you can use to do tricks like what I'm about to do. What I'm going to do is going to put this null in 3D space, so it has a Z as well. And then what I'm going to do, and I do this all the time, you see it in my titles, you see it all the time. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this camera and I'm going to make its parent the null. In fact, what I usually do is I name this cam null, just so I know that it's for the camera. And so I take this camera and I parent, I'm going to lock it to, I'm going to link it to the cam null. So now when I move the cam null, let's go to the position for cam null. Watch this. I move it, see it carrying the camera with it. Let's get the rotation for this null up. And I'm going to turn on the Y rotation. This is where it really becomes apparent that the null is controlling things. Look, I can spin the camera around that null point. See the camera spinning? I'm just turning the null in space. I'm turning it on the Y, and the camera's way out there. Now, one of the things I'm going to do to get rid of this problem with the videos being out of alignment, I'm just going to scale them up really big. So I'm going to get to the scale here. I'm going to scale this video way up because I don't want to have any trouble with it revealing the black edges. Okay, so I've scaled up the video. And what I'm going to do now, though, is I'm going to get this cam null. I'm going to get the rotation, which I've put it to number 23. I don't want to get too far. So let's go to the farthest over we can do over here. And then I'm going to go out here to 6 seconds in, and I'm going to spin this the other direction. So like this. Okay, something like that. So now as the camera is zooming, it's also spinning in space, right? It's spinning. Oh, we got so far that we caused a problem. Let's go get this keyframe for the camera zoom and just pull him back a little bit so he doesn't go that far. See, we're pushing through the video. We're pushing the camera right through the nebula, the cloud video. So let's move back so we don't go quite that far in. Okay, let's watch this. Here we are. In fact, let's just do one view. There we go. All right. Now look how, I mean, quickly, it's been like 5-10 minutes, I don't know. But I mean, relatively quickly, we have created some vital, cool space, right? And we're just kind of we're just moving around. Looks like we got a few errors in there. Got a few errors. We might have to clear the cache and start over. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. I'm going to just drop a title in here. So let's create a new, let's go get our text tool. And I'm just going to say, put a title in here. I'm going to say, Joe Sparks, okay? And oh my God, that's way too small. We need much larger. Let's grow this way up here like so, okay? So now we just got a title. It's just a piece of text sitting on here. I'm going to, while it's still not 3D because you can't do this, and I'm going to align it before I turn it into 3D. So I'm going to align it so it's in the center, the dead center right there. Okay, let's take a good look at that. Yes, there it is. It looks good. I like it. I'm going to leave it plain white. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop it into 3D space. Look, in one quick move, we've already got the camera moving around 3D space, and once that sucker's in 3D space, yes indeed. And now I realize that I want to get my camera more centered. So my name is also centered. So I'm going to go get to the camera and let's view this from the top. Let's do our two views again. Go to this guy and say from the top, please. And let's, what's the deal? Okay, I see. My null is off. So let me just go get the position of the null and put it in the center. Well, actually the center is not right. We need it. The center is actually half of 1920, which is the width of this composition. So let's make sure that this guy is roughly centered. He can be a little off. Maybe I'll just have him move by, kind of like that. So slowly over the entire length of this animation, the null is moving by. So we kind of zoom into my name, and then we zoom back out, and we zoom back in. Now we got some real rendering errors here. I'm going to see if I can fix it real quick. Let's go clear the cache. This is something you need to do often. Okay, I have cleaned my disk cache. If you've ever done this before, you go here, you empty the disk cache, and you clean the database and cache, and I got rid of the errors. Now, one thing you need to do though is you need to close the movie you're working on. I just learned again, and then do this empty the disk cache. Otherwise, it seems to hold on to some stuff that you're working on instead of getting rid of it. So then reopen it. So I reopened it, rebooted, and now it's looking really quite nice. So here we are. Yes, indeed. Let's view from one view, and here we are. We're at 1/4 resolution. It's looking good. A little music. This would be very nice, right? It's a little herky jerky. It's not great or anything. Let's do a couple things just to make it slightly more graceful. The good old F9 key. So right now we're just doing a linear move across the screen. I hit F9 and these become keys that you can control. You can control how the curve. I've just opened this, the graph editor. I'm making it slowly take off and then get fast and slow down. This is ease in, ease out stuff. Let's see how that looks now. So it goes across, it gets a little fast, zooms out, comes over here. Okay, it's looking pretty good. I just turned it on full just to see it in its full crisp beauty. Look at that. Look at the kind of zooming we got there. That's all motion blur. If I turn the motion blur off, see, we're back to simple stars that stay very crisp, right? And the same with the Joe Sparks there. Let's turn on, I didn't turn on motion blur. This column here is for the motion blur. Let's turn motion blur on. Now see when the stars are really zooming there, but there's no motion blur on my name. So I'm going to turn motion blur on and zoom. There we are, baby. Now we're seeing some motion blur. You can see it. And it's based on the camera lens too. So it's very sophisticated. It looks so gorgeous. I just love it. I need to do a little more compression on my video. And I mean graphic compression. I think that the RGB needs to be a little darker. Come on, am I on the right thing? Yeah. Okay, let's make it darker. Let's make the whole thing. Let's make this plasma, space nebula, dust, whatever it is, a little bit darker. A little darker. There we go. Okay, let's render it. Let's just render it. And you know what? I think I have some music around here. This is based on the stuff I did for Dickie and Jackie. Let's go turn on the space platform music, which is really nice. This is something I did in Logic a long time ago, like 2 years ago. It's pretty cool. Okay, good. Now I'm going to export this baby. Add to media encoder queue. This is important. You can do it from here, but you have many more choices if you use the old Adobe Media Encoder. This is opening. It's a separate application. It also allows you to have this thing rendering while you continue to work inside of After Effects or whatever you want. So you want to continue tweaking your next scene, you can do that. Your computer will be a little slower while it's rendering. So I've got lots of presets in here. I'm just going to do a simple, let's take a look at this real quick. What is in here? Oh, I see. It's episode 7, I think. Oh, that's what I had already in there. Let's just delete this guy. I like to open this dynamic link connection just to make sure there's no problems. I'm a little more superstitious. If I don't see this, sometimes it gets hung on there and I have to reopen Media Encoder. Looks like it's got 1 minute to go. Okay, let's take a look at the final result.